Hello, guys. Hello. Anna here, Heart of Match Guarantee. And today I have again very happy story to share, and I'm very happy and excited to be part of it. And I hope, guys, you will join because it's a very different time from normally of my streams. And yeah, I hope you will be active because this is a real chance for you to find out if this journey of finding beautiful Ukrainian wife for you or no, what challenges you will face in this journey, and if this, I hope it will help you to find those answers and to understand. Where you at, and if this experience can be very good and excited for you. Okay, so let me say hi. Who is here? Say hi. So let me invite our guest today, Shea. Hello, Shea.
Hello. Hi,
Hello.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So this is Shea, our client. And Shea, how old are you?
31.
31, very young clients. We're
Hmm.
so excited. We start to have more and more young clients, and this is like mind blowing a little bit, like, you know,
Hmm.
as well as when young ladies, Ukrainian, when they have some, like, a lot of choices, they join agency with the same reason,
Sure.
to be like more open minded, where they soulmate can be, and in the big desire to meet traditional man, who is who's have the same basic values, foundation, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
yeah, where do you live?
I live in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Been here pretty much my whole life. Lived a couple other places, Los Angeles area, Seattle, and then moved back here. Family's here. That's where I grew up. I like the weather, like the area, so
Mm-hmm.
came back here, and I've been living here for quite some time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, guys, saying hello. Uh, Привет. Is a 25 years old man too young to sign up for Match Guarantee? No, we actually have client 25 years old in past, and yeah, he's kind of still in this journey, but it's possible because we have ladies like from 18 years old and older. So yeah, it depends
Hmm.
if you can find someone that you're interested to meet, right? I think this is first
Yeah,
step. You need to go
absolutely.
on website and see if you have ladies you're interested. Yeah, but
Yeah, I personally wouldn't say it's too young.
uh-huh. I think it depends on if man mature, and level of his
Oh,
maturity.
for sure.
Yeah, I think like what we experienced in past, we had very, I mean, like you, guy, actually, is 31 years old. Now
Hmm.
he's successfully married with us. But I remember his journey. He's like very handsome and good, have good career, good family, like
Hmm.
and we was very surprised with his like accept and rejection rate because some ladies say no, and we like thought, okay, this is will be 10 from 10. It's actually never happened, but we thought, okay, maybe
Nope,
this will be.
it does not.
And now, yeah, and we was like, what's going on? We started to like, we talk to every lady, and they say, or he's like too handsome, or he's maybe he's not very serious, he's young, maybe he's not sure if he want family. Like, you know
Sure.
they used to also like many Ukrainian men think this way, that or I need to like have fun, a lot of years before I will settle down. Settle down. So they don't want this because they just like, let's say from 25 years old, they're ready, they're ready. It's
Sure.
culture. You will check statistics. It's early marriages still, so they want
Hmm.
serious relationship. They don't want this to be this, you know kind of, yeah, temporary. um you know I mean, it's still not hookup culture, but like,
Oh,
men
definitely not.
sometimes,
Mm-mm.
yeah, men sometimes not ready to like proceed, uh, with the serious steps, like in engagement. And I
Yeah.
think this should be something that should be agreed from both sides, right? To feel.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely kind of like dating anywhere else. I mean, you're going to be interested in
Yeah.
some people that aren't interested in you. And I'm sure there's
Mhm.
other ladies that if I would have sent letters to would have been interested in me that for whatever reason maybe wouldn't be somebody I was wanting to proceed with at least right away. So yeah,
Mhm.
you're definitely going to get some, not nearly as much in the States, but you're going to get some rejection as far as some ladies aren't interested. And that's just part of life. I mean, you're going to have to look
Mhm.
around just like kind of normal life.
Mhm. There is a question. The values in Ukraine are vastly different from there in US now. It's a question. Yeah. What do you
I
think?
mean, it kind of depends. It depends on what your values are. I mean, if you're somebody who wants to be in hookup culture, where you're trying
Mhm.
to be with a different lady every night and you don't want to settle down and family's not important to you, yeah, they're going to be vastly different. But if you are looking for somebody who you want to settle down with, have kids, and create a family with, I would say then the values are much more in line with that. And for me, that's what I'm looking for. Um, Maria and I, that's both something that's important to us. And so, no, we hit it off very well. We see things very, very similarly. Politics is obviously a little bit different from there to here, so that's a little bit different. And she doesn't really fully understand U.S. politics, but in some regards, that's actually a really big plus for me because, at least politically here, I have different views than the majority of what are called millennials here. I see things
Mhm.
very differently than the average woman, and that's always been an issue for me while dating. So if you
Ah.
have more traditional values from kind of like the 1950s, where family structure is important, being a head of a household, providing for your wife, your future family, if you have that type of a mindset, then I think you're going to do very well. But if your goal is that, hey, you each kind of just barely put in a little bit of work and you want to sit on your rear and play video games every day and she's going to do everything for you, no, you're not going to have much success, in my opinion.
Mhm. This guy has a clue. It's a compliment to you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello from Montana. Yeah. Um. So, yeah, Simon will come to this question. So, I would like to ask you, Shay, how did you come up with this
Sure.
idea to find your wife so far away on another part of the earth?
Sure. I mean, COVID obviously kind of kicked in, and at that point, it definitely had changed things. So there wasn't really much dating going on at that point. Because I signed up with you guys, I believe it was 2021, I think it was. So it's been I've been with you guys for a year and a half or 2 years, roughly, somewhere getting close to there.
Mm-hmm.
But I just before COVID, the ladies I was meeting, I didn't feel like were the type of woman I'd want to settle down with. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they maybe have been with a lot of different guys. They maybe saw different things politically. Maybe they didn't really value having kids of their own. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
women here definitely are interested in having their careers, and that's being their dominant thing, not a family. And I have no problem if she wants to work. That's fine. But if you're going to put your career ahead of everything and not put values towards building a family, that's just not really something that really is something I want. So I got tired of, again, the ladies I was dating here. Didn't really have much quality success as far as like long-term wife type material. So at that point, I just figured, well, okay, COVID had happened. There really wasn't much dating at that point. So I don't know. There was one night I just happened to be brushing my teeth, and I was like, hey, you know what? I've heard of mail order brides, and I was like, that. I mean, I need to do a little bit more research on it than just okay. Hey, you go online, you pick one, and then they ship it to your house. Like that's not how it works at all. So there's definitely a little bit of like learning, looking at different agencies, trying to weed out what's a scam, what's not a scam. And from what I could find, it seemed like 9 out of 10 things you were looking at least were scams. People said horror stories of, oh, I spent $10,000, $20,000, never met her. The pay per email thing, that seemed absolutely ridiculous. Like, why would I be paying 10, 20, $40 for an email and then all I get is an email back? That seemed very fishy behavior to me. Like, that doesn't seem like somebody's actually trying to match people up with people. And then I happened to stumble across your guys' videos on YouTube. Saw some
Mm-hmm.
people that were again similar, kind of face to face, either interviews or kind of the debrief after their first trip, and it seemed very genuine and something that like was real. And so I was like, hey, you know what? At that point, I saw how your pricing structure was. That it was pretty much, hey, yeah, it's a relatively expensive upfront fee, but it's guaranteed if you put in the effort. It doesn't matter if it takes 1 trip or 5 trips, as long as everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing and putting in the effort, that you can
Mhm.
have success.
Yeah.
So to me, it just seemed like it all made sense.
So Shay, I understand you're right. You didn't have any bad experience before Match Guarantee before us.
Thank God, no. Thankfully, I did not have any
Yeah,
bad
you just do your
experiences.
homework.
I did.
Easy
I
guys.
spent probably a month to 2 months just looking at different agencies, trying to look up different reviews, different things on YouTube, whatever it is, just kind of really doing a lot of legwork on the back end to see if this seems like a legitimate thing. And finally, after, again, probably 6 weeks or so of looking into that, I decided to go ahead and pull the trigger with you guys.
Yeah, that's very wise, And I advise every, every guy who watching us here or later in replay, to do your homework. I'm not screaming be the best agency, but do your homework and choose for yourself. You need to, not blindly jump in this journey because I see, doing it. I mean, generally
Mm-hmm.
speaking, this is very crazy, crazy scam, big
It is
industry,
crazy.
and it's so
Well, it's
easy
also
here.
crazy.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
So
also crazy just
online.
the amount of effort that both people are going to have to put in. It's not going to be something easy where you go on one trip, you immediately find the person you're going to want to be with. Maybe maybe you're lucky and it happens right away. And it can take months and months before you end up building enough of a relationship to before she's ready to move to you, or if you're willing to move to her. So it's not something where it's going to be one trip, you meet someone, the next time you're ready to move, and then all of a sudden, happily ever after, and it's all done. So yeah, there's going to be a fair amount of effort you got to put in, but it's worth it.
Let's talk about this, Shay. Yeah, I just like several interviews before you. It was all couples
Mm-hmm.
who met from first introduction. So I start
Sure.
to think that all our guys' potential will have imagination that it will happen from first. So I'm very happy you count your day, because this
Sure.
is like start to sound like it's too good to be true, and it's true, guys. It doesn't, and we wish everybody, it happened like so quick, and we have so many,
Mm-hmm.
marriages from first trip, and even it's like blow minded because we have like marriages when man didn't meet, he was interested in a lady, she was his number one choice, but when he come to Ukraine she wasn't available and then he was not successful in his first trip, and then when he comes second time, he started from her and now he married her, so it's like very
Mm-hmm.
interesting how sometimes men know who is his woman, like,
Sure.
but it's there's something out there not controlled by us, so
Yep.
everything
Absolutely.
happens when it should happen, and what's important in this journey, if it didn't happen from first introduction, not to be disappointed, frustrated, just keep
Sure.
on, yeah, to be in this journey. So on this point I would like to ask you how many ladies you have, like you've been introduced with us before you met your soulmate. Let's call it this way.
Sure. Yeah. So when I at least first signed up, Maria wasn't even with your agency. So I mean, she wasn't
Mhm,
even somebody I could pick from when I started. So my
mhm,
very first trip, um, I think I had about like 7 or 8 ladies I met on my first trip to Ukraine. And
mhm,
obviously had kind of done some online dating beforehand, different video dates and things like that, trying to see if there was a connection beforehand. And again, this is before Maria was even with you guys. So at that point, the lady I was most interested in, I did end up meeting her on the trip. Um, Overall went pretty good, and I met somebody else on the trip as well, who wasn't necessarily my first pick, but we both hit it off very
mhm,
well. And then I kind of was trying to like see which one would work out long run between the relationships, because you may end up with one, you may end up with two, you may end up with zero. So it's really kind of hard to tell what's going to happen for you, because I've heard stories where you went on other guys have gone on a trip and all of them struck out. I got lucky. I got two that I thought were going to be pretty good girlfriends to potentially kind of actually set up and have a long-term relationship with. Both ended up fizzling out over the next few months. And I would definitely say a good portion of that was my fault. I think you definitely need to be prepared that after you have your first trip, you need to be able to go there much quicker than I was able to. When I first signed up, my passport had already been around for like over 9 years, and I had to get my passport renewed. So I was able to just barely make my trip when I came there with my original passport. And then after all that was done, I had to get it renewed. Well, that gave me a several month delay before I could go back again. And I think having 4 or 5 months of time from your first trip to your second trip to build that connection. I personally don't think that's a good way to do it, and I think that was a huge reason why either of those first relationships didn't work out, is because you end up building a pretty nice little foundation, and then if you don't go back for 5 6 months, life happens. Maybe things get misunderstood. They feel like it's not as
Mhm.
important to, like they maybe
Mhm.
think you're not putting in as much effort as you can, but yet again sometimes that's not the case, and it just didn't work out. And then thankfully I took a little bit of a break after it all kind of fell apart there. I
Mhm.
probably didn't do anything as far as looking into any other ladies for a couple months, and then I started again. Was it about July of last year? I was like, okay, well, I'll give it another shot, see if I can find someone else. And then at that point, Maria was the next person I met in person, and then it's been fantastic ever since. But the second time, after I had my first in person trip there with her, I very much was aware of that, and I made a very big effort to go there again much quicker. And I think I saw her about 6 weeks later, and that really made a huge difference.
6 weeks. So you advise guys to
Mm-hmm.
come as soon as possible here. And
Well, I would say once you have that first in-person meeting,
mhm,
it may work if you go 3 4 5 months. It may work for you. I feel like that definitely
mhm,
put a strain on it, where having
mhm,
the next trip where she and I got to spend a lot more time together, doing that much quicker. Again, you can still build quite a bit of a relationship in that following 6 weeks, video calls, text messaging, all of that kind of stuff. But it's really hard to not have that in-person quality time together, especially depending on what your love languages are. Both hers and
yeah,
mine are physical touch. That's extremely important. And we've
mhm,
both said since our last trip that that's one of the hardest things, is that there is no holding hands, kissing, cuddling, whatever it may be. There is no physical intimacy, and that definitely has been hard for the last few months. Thankfully, I get to see her in basically 8 days. She and I are going to be going on a trip 8 days from now.
mhm, mhm. Guys asking, hey, age gap? The
Our
most
age is,
important
yeah,
question.
no, I think it's important. Hers and mine is 7 years,
7 years,
so
which is pretty
yeah,
normal for
I think
Ukrainian
it works
couple
well.
as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
My
It's
sister and her
very
husband,
normal.
I mean, they met in the States, but my sister and her husband are 10 years difference. My mom and my dad, when they were married, they were 10 years different. So, no, I think it's worked out well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I want to just I should have stopped you a little bit, but
Oh, sure.
I think I ask even like from matchmakers from what they know about your journey as well. So like going back when you start your journey, and this was
Hmm.
very different. Before actually
It
COVID
was.
happened,
Mhm.
we didn't have any distance introduction. All guys was coming to Ukraine, go on several days,
Hmm.
and I can say it was overwhelming for guys.
Sure.
And many of them was
Hmm.
leaving Ukraine because cannot stay for a long time, and like cannot decide which lady to pursue. And
Hmm.
uh, they always like was thinking that it's good that I met like more ladies, five, or I don't know, how many, but uh
Honestly, the fewer the better, honestly.
huh
It's a
the
bit, I said the fewer the better. It's a bit overwhelming.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And still, guys, now when because of war, we implement this one by one, introduction, because now ladies live in different countries in different, so
Hmm.
we do virtual introduction, but one lady at a time. And they still fighting with us, like, I need to meet, several ladies. But I try to explain, and like, and I cannot deliver this because this is like not my personal experience, but I know that
Sure.
it was partial your and other clients who was in these shoes, when it's very difficult,
Hmm.
when you have two ladies who has expectations, all of them, and this is like they're very insecure if they see that you have great connection, but then you're not actively pursuing her. She's asking like,
Hmm.
what he's doing. He's basically she pursuing another lady, and then she's asking
Hmm.
herself, I don't want to be number second. I don't want to be like,
Sure.
So, and this is very damaging because they very kind of, like, let's face it, Ukrainian ladies, because they grew up in this like, crazy competition, for men. They're very sensitive
Hmm.
about infidelity, and like they want to understand if men really, serious about her,
Sure.
and how he can
Yeah.
show this just by actively pursuing her. And if you kind of have two, or three good connections, if you have to choose, one to focus, you
Hmm.
focus, and you kind of burn in other bridges.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's how it is. So now with this system that we use now because of war, yeah, one lady at a time, it's really, we see it's increase our success of our guys, because and lady and man, they focus on each other. We know who is with whom in relationship. We don't introduce women to other men, and also men, like one at a time. But I
Hmm.
mean, after call, it's like first date. We never exchange contact information if we don't have like mutual, express of
Sure.
mutual
Hmm.
interest. What's the purpose, if one person not interested? So, but you can
Hmm.
understand a lot of things from first even virtual introduction, like if you
Oh,
have
sure.
match energy, or like this is like first date when you go on a restaurant. Sometimes you don't want to take number because this is a super boring conversation, or you know
Yep.
or
And
she has
yeah, you
very,
might potentially have some of that. Hmm.
yeah. Or I was translator on some date that I was like, when it will finish. And I was like, understand
Yep.
why men even don't ask, not telephone number, because there is, no connection. It's
Sure.
obvious. So
It happens. I mean, it's just
yeah.
like making friends in
Mhm.
normal life. Sometimes you hang out with some people and you go, hey, this is a cool person. I want to spend time with them. And other times,
Mhm.
like work, you meet other people at
Mhm.
work and you're like, okay, as soon as my work day is over, I have no interest in talking to them ever again. I mean, it's just normal connections with people. And some of them you're going to like, some of them you're really going to like, some of them you're not going to like. So, I mean, it's just like every
Yeah.
other type of interconnection with people.
Yeah. So at this point, guys, don't be hard on me, on Matchmaker, when we try to help you, explaining that it's work in your interest, allowing you to be focused on certain lady, that you will save your other potential connection for future. Don't burn all bridges at the same time.
Yeah,
So just,
I'll admit
stay
at first I
focused.
wasn't happy that you guys changed that policy,
Mhm.
and that it was done differently. Because at first I was like, well, man, that's kind of like now I've really it's going to take a lot longer to potentially find someone.
Yeah.
And as it turns
Mhm.
out, it wasn't that case at all, and it worked out much better. But it
Yeah.
was a concern of mine.
Yeah, I understand that this is concern of very, but I can tell you, you know what? I know what you was going through when you come to Ukraine, when you matchmakers say he was super popular, and it's like it's very difficult when you all of a sudden feel so much interest, and all
Hmm.
this, all this, attention and expectation that women start to have towards you, and it's hard to really, because if you have so short time, it's hard to figure out who's potentially the best match for you, and you kind of need
Hmm.
to make the decision, and this is very hard, and unfortunately I know a lot of guys who young, with good life values, come to Ukraine to find wife, and then stuck
Hmm.
there, stuck dating, non-stop for many years, and still cannot find perfect, because this is kind of, become like a drug, I don't know, addictive. And then you lose your original reason why you come, so it always the case to, like you say, it's when you have small, like smaller numbers, but you focus, you don't lose your
Hmm.
original reason, because it's dangerous, this platform of choice that you and that's what Ukrainian man experienced.
Oh, sure.
Living in
Hey, it's
this
not just that.
garden. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's a
Look,
lot of, yeah.
plus Plus, then if you
Mhm.
like, because again, I got to do both sides of it before the war and after the war. So before the war,
Yeah.
meeting many different people at one time. When it's almost a date every single day, meeting somebody new. By the like third, fourth day of that, sometimes there's even 2 dates in a day with different people. It's almost hard to keep the stories straight, who said what, and it's pretty overwhelming. So definitely limiting the
Yeah.
amount of individual stories that you're trying to remember. And again, like you said, just focus on one and really see if it's going to work out is definitely, I think, kind of the better way to go.
Yeah, it's like a bachelor show, but this is reality. This is not show.
Yep.
You really like how to match, how to keep, how not to mix up different things that I hear. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
step by
absolutely.
step, it's like you better move slowly, but you concentrated on result and you focused on lady, and this is will be better for you. We see that, we now see, we like practically proves this, that it's much better.
Hmm.
It works better for both sides, for both sides. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so you basically answer my question. You pretty quickly meet with the Maria, yeah, after
Hmm.
6 weeks of communication, and that's really, guys. I want here to good evening, yeah. I want here to make a point that it's like before war, when ladies was living in their home, having normal life, they could have communicate for you longer, but still it's very important, if you want she to perceive you seriously, to make this happen, this real meeting as soon as possible. And we advise like 1 to 2 months. And I believe Shay's
Hmm.
success is actually very a lot, based on in my own opinion, on two things. First, that because he's action taker, because he just come, meet her, and like also Luba told that, like, he's just follow his words like 100%, wherever he say he's doing. And this is what Ukrainian
Hmm.
women appreciate in men. They don't like blah blah blah
She
when
definitely does. Hmm.
don't like, yeah, when, yeah, like
Correct. Yeah.
they
No, she
appreciate.
very much appreciates if you say you're going to do something and you follow
Yeah,
through like that. That holds a lot of water.
and this is super critical. And I have experienced Western men. I see there is a lot of water sometimes, like,
Hmm.
many things just to be said but not to be done. And this is a big pushover for Ukrainian women, if you're in a relationship. And this is like you need to learn from Shea, from his, and third, in my opinion, success, like, tip from Shay, that he was not giving up. This journey was not, you know, easy and short. It wasn't long in time, but still, he, you know, give it the time to
It'll take some effort,
overcome,
but it's
let
worth
it
it.
go. Yeah, yeah. Just like, you need to believe and you need to continue this journey, but not like, coming from desperately, give it time. If you need to break, just to let it go, past experience, and then from you,
Hmm.
inspiration from you, right? Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, how was, like, guys asking, and this also, how's English, Maria? Does she speak English? What is?
Yeah, she's fantastic. I would say fluent. I think she would say that she's maybe not 100% fluent, but definitely. I mean, we have no problems communicating. There were some other ladies that I had talked to before that didn't speak English. I wouldn't say that it's not worth considering them as options. I would say
Mhm.
that there is a language barrier, so you will have to be aware that there's going to be a little bit more effort required on that part. But I mean, everybody I met was definitely a very quality person, very much worth getting to know. But again, just kind of like any other normal relationship, you're either going to have certain things that you guys match and bond well with and have common interests, or you're not. So, as it turns out, Maria does speak really good English, which is going to make it easier for me. And she's planning on coming here pretty soon in about, middle of May. So we're both excited for that, and for her it'll be pretty easy finding any kind of work that she may want to do here, because she doesn't have to learn a whole language from scratch.
Mhm. Yeah, and on my side, I would add that, if like client date is older and date older women like 50 plus, there is like less choice of women who speak English, because yeah,
Yeah,
in
that would make
Soviet
sense.
Union time was, yeah, but now it's more and more, like all parents, put a lot of efforts that their children, they put this in the courses, that they, because they understand this is ticket for, for
Hmm.
like living better life, like better, having better job, because in Ukraine it's well paid. If you know English, this is big advantage for you. Also you can travel, more easier.
And
Yeah.
I was going to say, especially on the traveling side, because I've done a bit of traveling in Europe, and
Hmm.
Mexico and whatnot. And yeah, whether it was Bulgaria, Ukraine, Greece, Italy, Germany,
Hmm.
France, there's a very big majority of people that speak English. And so even if they don't even plan to come to the US, they know that that is
Hmm.
kind of like the universal language where you can travel pretty
Yeah.
much anywhere close
Hmm.
by, that a good majority of people are going to know. So even if they're not planning on coming to the States or Canada or something like that, there's still quite a few of them that do know it because they know it opens more opportunities for them for work or whatever.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm trying. Guys talk a lot to each other, trying to find questions, but yeah. So you can maybe right now, guys. I don't know. This is Patrick. It's a question. I'm not. It's not the simp. There is what is considered simp in Ukraine, but I don't think Shea is
Yeah, yeah.
right
I No,
to answer.
it has nothing to do with being a simp. Clearly, I mean, if you think that trying to meet someone overseas is simpish, then okay, you can go ahead and believe that. But I mean, it's no different than dating here. And I've heard people go, "Well, she's just going to use you for your money." Like, dude, come on, they already do that here in the States.
No,
So at
no.
least if I can get somebody,
Mhm. Mhm. It was question like what's considering simp in Ukraine. So I don't know. I
oh,
maybe
okay,
need to ask Ukrainian ladies about this. Maybe. Um, yeah. What's simping?
I would just
Basically,
say,
Ukrainian ladies would tell you probably when guy too naive, naive. And this is part of Western culture, and that's why those scammers take advantage, like very
oh, sure.
kind and very trusted, and those girls, who doesn't have, I don't know, life values, they just do really bad stuff. So you need to really be, be not like, you know,
And
but
I
yeah.
think if he's going to say like I'm being one, okay, you can have that opinion. But again, I mean, it's
No,
not.
no,
It's
no.
just like forming any other relationship anywhere else. But you still need to be careful. As good as you guys screen the ladies, I did have two different people I had talked to at one point that were very much trying to get me to buy things for them before I'd even met them in person. And I put my foot down and said, no. I mean, I'm happy to help contribute to things after we've built a relationship, but no, I'm not going to be buying you airplane tickets or lots of extra expensive things or anything like that. And I mean, that's just not something I was going to do. And I said, nope. And both of them said, well, if you're not going to do that, then you must not be serious. I said, okay, well, we're clearly not a good fit. And I moved on. So, but the other
Great.
probably 15 people I've met and talked to, that wasn't the issue. So that only happened both one or two times. One wasn't that bad. The other one I thought was a bit egregious, and I brought it to you guys' attention, and you guys handled it appropriately.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, it can happen, but we just, yeah. It's a lot of conversation here. Yeah, just guys, even, it's always should be dialogue, like when we accept new ladies, we honestly, until she has some experience with us dating men, doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
how, nice and good, and she pass all our interviews, you don't know really her intention until she, really show
For
her
sure.
in relationship. So that's always for us question, like we waiting always for her first experience, and then we actively ask how it was, what's the news, I mean, it's normal if it didn't work in a relationship, it can happen,
Sure. Oh
we
yeah.
need just to be sure, she's with, yeah, with right intention and everything, Um,
Hmm.
but I mean, this is like very rarely case, but it can anyway happen, like, yeah, more because like ladies who is scammers, basically if we have so many, girls can, like just website they see, they apply, they
For
don't
sure.
know like what
Hmm.
agency there are. So like if they ask first question, how much you will pay us, we're like, goodbye, we don't pay ladies,
Right.
we're not good match for each other. Or, and some say, and
Hmm.
what, your girls work for free? So nobody works
Right.
here, you don't understand. Here we like
Right.
create couples. So normally they're not interested in us, and we're not
Correct.
interested in them. But I don't know, like some maybe professional or some, I don't know, some, but normally it's not the case. I mean, we have very like personal relationship with each lady, but with the new ladies,
Yeah,
as
and
I
like
said.
I said,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and like I said, I think you guys have done a very good job at weeding out
Mm-hmm.
anybody who's trying to do that because I'd say the majority of the people I met through you guys were all
Mm-hmm.
quality people, and I didn't have a hint of them trying to do that for citizenship or for money or for anything like that. So no, I thought you guys do a very good job at trying to keep that type of um, lady out of your agency.
Mm-hmm. Guys asking, are you yourself learning Russian or Ukrainian? I believe it would be good idea for long term.
Yeah, I've told her I'd be willing to do that if that was something that was of interest to her. She actually has more of an interest in her and I both learning Spanish or potentially a different language together. So I may
Wow.
end up doing that, but she and I may end up trying to learn Spanish or something else that she feels like would be maybe a little bit more beneficial for both of us.
Um, okay, guys, don't they say choose good? You tell her what wallet listen the base to. I don't understand what is this.
Yeah, I didn't
Um,
quite follow that one.
does she has kids?
No, she's single, no kids.
Mhm.
So that was for me at least the first priority was ideally I didn't want to have other kids. I mean, I want to have my own family. Not that I would never
Mhm.
consider that, but I wasn't going
Mhm.
to start there.
Mhm. Mhm.
And there's
Yeah,
a lot of ladies who don't have kids.
for young clients, this is completely, possible. I mean, if you
Hmm.
date like 80, 50 plus, it's most likely
Oh, sure.
she'll have maybe adult already, but still,
Right.
again, it's traditional culture is very important for every Ukrainian woman. But we have like, if we have ladies, we have. Even last client that I interviewed, yeah, they have first
Hmm.
baby together, and she's, yeah, like he's 50. Not he, not
Holy
she.
cow.
It's first time together. Yeah, so she was super motivated, and he said, "This is just beginning."
Sure.
Yeah, they're so happy. They're very mature parents, and like
Very
she's,
cool.
I think 38 or like something like this, and he's
Okay.
53. Like, I mean, I don't exactly, but like 50, like, yeah.
Sure.
So maybe she's now already 40, but I mean, it took time until they met, develop relationship and then
For sure.
have. But I mean, this is, amazing. I mean, this is also opportunity, for guys. We have a lot of ladies like, I don't know, 35 plus, even still don't have
Hmm.
children, and doesn't have children, and still it's like, it's a main desire, but they're just waiting,
Sure.
they don't want to have just to have, many ladies, they they want to have with the right man. So
Sure.
so
Absolutely. And it's important for me to find a woman who I want to have kids with. So it's not just any woman would do. That's also why I was willing to look abroad. And
Mhm.
also, I knew it would take a little while. So if you're like, hey, that's important to me, yeah, it's better to get started sooner than later because it may take you 2 years or so before you find somebody. And then by the time you find somebody and she moves, you
Mhm.
move, you get married and have a little bit more
Mhm.
time to build your relationship before you know it. Yeah, it's 3, 4 years down the road before you maybe have kids. So it's one of those
Mhm.
things where I started at 29 and I was like, okay, I want to get going here because I know it might take a little while. And I didn't want to start at
Mhm.
35 and then be pushing
Mhm.
almost 40 by the time I'd start having my first kid. So
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I guess you grew up in very traditional family as well. Yeah.
I would say pretty traditional. My dad was the
Mhm.
provider. He
Mhm.
definitely is kind of I mean, he grew up on a farm in Kansas from German parents and German grandparents, and they very much had kind of traditional values. I don't know how he taught me those, but they sunk in and stuck with me, and I want the same thing. And generally, Western women don't have those same type of values I was looking for, and that's why I figured I'd look somewhere else.
Mhm. Mhm. So, I want to ask you. So, you already like half a year together, right? So
Yeah, we've been together for 6 months. Hmm.
6 months. So you saw each other two times. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's currently living outside of Ukraine. So we met where she's living. She generally doesn't want me giving out many details, so I'll keep that part a little bit vague. But met her where she's currently living. Was there for a week, and she's the only person I met on that trip. So we both got to know each other and kind of do some fun things and all of that. And then after all that trip was over, we had a really good connection. Really felt like it was worth pursuing. So after that, we talked pretty much every day, video calls, texting, that kind of stuff. And then after that, I planned my second trip to go out there, and then we actually met in a different country. We went to Rome in Italy, and then we spent a week, a little longer than a week out there together. And then now when I go back, I'm going to meet her where she's living, and then we're going to go to Cyprus for about 5 or 6 days. And then after that trip's done, she's going to be planning to move in with me in about mid-May.
In US?
Yep. So we already got our approval and everything through Uniting through Ukraine. So she's approved and everything's good to go. So at this point, we're just going to pick the flight that she wants, and then she'll be here in about, I don't know, 8 weeks or so from now, 9 weeks.
Wow, that's great. That's amazing. And how it was
Yeah, we're
this
both really excited.
procedure? It was difficult to apply this by this program, United for.
Yeah, so I had heard through your agency and just reading online, whether it's Reddit or something else, that most people were getting answers in 1 to 2 weeks. And I had submitted my application, and then I kept waiting and waiting. And I was like, man, it's been 10 days, nothing. It's been 2.5 weeks, nothing. We're now past the third week, nothing. And I was like, man, this is getting to be a little bit kind of nerve wracking. Like, is this going to work or not? And then finally, I think it was like the 24th day, I got notification. Well, she got the notification and texted me and said, hey, I think we're good to go. And I logged on my side, and it says I've been approved on my side. She immediately submitted all the documentation that she had to do. And then later that evening, it was literally like 3-4 hours later after she submitted everything she needed, they came back with the final approval that, hey, yep, everything's good to go. And at that point, if she was ready, she could have came out right away, but she wanted to spend a little bit more time with her mom before she moved here. So she said, hey, give me like 2 months. I want to kind of tidy up some things here with my life before she's ready to move. So yeah. So that all just happened actually this week as far as getting the approval.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations. Guys ask, you need to do interview or no?
Based off of what I was told from everything, she didn't have to do an interview. From how I'm understanding it is she's been approved with all the documentation she's proven for, whether it's vaccinations, birth certificate, passport, all that kind of stuff that she submitted. And then when she gets to the US, and that's when she'll kind of do like a very brief interview, kind of just verifying everything at customs border control when she gets here. That's my understanding. Because the letter basically said, hey, you're approved. Just make sure you have all your documentation when you get to the border customs control.
So it's interesting, and I just shared you before we going live what our clients before was going through, before war. Unfortunately, that's the reason why how much easier now to proceed with documents. Easy, it's not right word. It's like big big opportunity for guys, for serious guys who is looking for a wife. This is like, I don't know if it it will not be forever. I don't believe it will be forever,
No.
so.
And obviously the war is a horrible thing, but thankfully, I mean, it gave me a positive out of it, and it gave her something positive out of it. Obviously, she still has family that lives inside Ukraine, so she's obviously very concerned about how all that's going to pan out. And I started before all of this happened, so I was under the assumption I'd have to go through a fiance's visa, 9 months, a year, whatever the case may be, before anything could happen that way. After all this happened and they offered this other program, I was very grateful that they offered this other solution, which was able to expedite her getting here. So I was very, very glad that was the case.
Yeah, I just remember
I hope the war ends as soon as possible.
especially when COVID started, I remember our couples like was even like plus one more year of waiting line was
Sure.
so huge. And I remember I was talking to
Well,
all
they shut
ladies who
everything
were
down there for a while.
waiting to come, and the man cannot come, and this was so challenging, so crazy for relationship. I wonder how we will still was
Hmm.
getting marriages with such challenging time. And now I say to guys, this is like, I don't know, it's, you need to take your, if you're serious about this journey now, like I know there is many questions how it is, it's, it's just questions will be always, but it's, you see guys,
Oh, sure.
like say he started after war happened, and you see he has great result, so,
Hmm.
and hopefully
For
everything
sure.
will develop, naturally. But I mean, that's the thing, there is always will be war, unfortunately, create a lot of,
Yeah, when I started,
what
it was the whole COVID pandemic stuff, and everything was still very
yeah,
up in the air with that.
also
That caused some
many,
headaches.
many fears,
Yep.
yeah.
Thankfully,
And
a
that's
lot of
what.
that's died down. Traveling's much easier now. But yeah, then after all that, then the war started, and that caused its own set of complications. So no matter what, you're always going to have hoops you're going to have to jump through. So it's just, hey, is it really important to you to find a significant other? If so, get started on it, and you'll have to
Mhm.
go over obstacles as they appear.
Yeah. So on this note, I would like to ask, what your was top three fears, biggest fears about looking wife in Ukraine?
Well,
Yeah,
I'm sure
and
just like
mhm,
everybody else answers, it being a scam. That was my first
mhm,
biggest fear. After having actually gone there and started to meet people in person, that fear very much subsided pretty much immediately, and I actually got to experience the just how everything was ran. So that was my biggest fear. Second fear, just like any probably other people, not finding someone. Like, hey, okay, great, yeah, I'm going to spend some money. I'm going to take time off. I'm going to go do this trip. Am I going to meet anybody that's going to be a quality person that I want to spend the rest of my life with? That was probably my second biggest fear. And then my third biggest fear is just trying to keep a long distance relationship valid, because it's tough. It's a lot of work. There's times where you're going to feel really sad and frustrated, maybe a little bit depressed potentially. It depends on how well you handle those types of things. So if you have other friends or family that you've experienced, not that they've experienced, but you share your experience with, my parents, my sister, everybody knows about it in my immediate family. So having people to kind of just lean on once in a while when you're like, hey, I'm kind of sad today. I haven't seen her in 3 months, and it's a little tough. So those I would say are the three biggest ones. But again, having some kind of a support structure around you to help you when you're going through some tough times definitely helps.
mhm. I just listen to you, and I'm thinking, I work with Joe all time, live together, and I'm thinking what we need to do to a little bit, apart. I think, this is like you want always different from what you have. I think it's also very good. I mean, of course it's difficult, but also it helps to build, like this, desire to be
Sure.
together. And it's also challenge your relationship if it's true or no, because not true relationship, it's very hard to keep, in distance. And I said like our couples, like who was engaged and was waiting for years until it was approved. This is crazy, this is tells about,
Yeah.
everything, and now they have
Hmm.
great marriages, because they
Sure.
they were able to, to keep it through distance, through, all these challenges, in time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I definitely think, I mean, you're going to meet a different caliber of person because somebody who is willing to do the long distance for 6 months, a year, 18 months.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's going to depend on you and whoever you're meeting. If you know you're willing to put in that amount of effort, and so are they, you should have a really, really good relationship because it's not just something like, oh, well, they live right down the street. I'll go say hi or whatever. Like, I mean, when you put in the effort, I mean, you both are really putting in the effort, and it really means a lot to both people. So it's work. It's a lot of stress, but it's worth it in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. And how about your fears now? How you feel after your experience with Match Guarantee?
Yeah, I mean, I'd highly recommend it if anybody was considering going and trying it. I would say, yeah, it's definitely worth going for. Even right now, with it being different than when I signed up. Again, my
Mm-hmm.
concern was now that the war started and it was just meeting one person at a time. That was probably my fourth biggest fear. Is once that switched. When I met Maria, I was like, wow, so I'm going on a trip to a foreign country in Europe and I'm only meeting one person. That's it. If it doesn't work, like it's kind of not going to work out. So I was given like some other assurances that if that were the case in the second, third day and it just clearly wasn't going to happen, we'd try and figure something out. But thankfully, I mean, Maria and I did very well. We headed off, and that didn't end up becoming an issue I had to deal with. I'm sure somebody else will have to have dealt with that. Maybe they can share their story, but I didn't have that experience.
Mm-hmm.
But you can definitely build a decent amount of a foundation on a relationship doing video dates and things like that before you go there. So after a month, 6 weeks of video dates, chatting, things like that, you should have a pretty good idea if you're going to do well in person or not.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's like you're not coming just for first date person that you never talk to, you don't know
Exactly.
her. No, this is like super, super dangerous and super risky. But yeah, when you already have 6 months of conversation, I know a lot of guys when COVID started, they kind of have, this amount of time, like 1.5 months, and then they come and they're successful, because
Mm-hmm.
this is good. This is good timing to give to no time to enough time to get to know each other to certain level that you need already to
Sure.
upgrade level to next level by
Mm-hmm.
meeting, so she take you
For
serious,
sure.
and this is what guys need to learn from your experience as well. There was
But I would
guys.
also say
Uh-huh.
I was
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
say you could potentially drag it out too long. Like if all you're going to do is video chat and texting and things like that for
Yeah.
4 or 5 months, 6 months, and not go out there, she'll probably think that you're not serious about it, and she'll probably lose interest. So I think really 1 to 2 months, build enough of a foundation before you go there. But you need to go. You can't draw
Yeah.
it out forever. They're not wanting to be pen pals. So if all you want to do is just have somebody to text and message, that's probably not going to work.
Yeah, I saw our statistics. So many guys like never actually came and meet lady, and I wonder then why some of them not successful because because of this. Because when we started to do distance introduction, because before COVID started happened, we never had it, so it was not an issue.
Sure.
They always was coming,
Mm-hmm.
but when we started to do this introduction, some guys just like it's comfort, but there is it's not possible to like
Mm-hmm.
you need to see person, you need to this is like developing
Well, that's the
relationship.
not
It's
only that, that's
organic.
the most fun part is actually getting to go spend time with them and do something, whether you
Yeah.
go on a boat ride or hot air balloon or you go to a movie or go by a walk on
Romantic.
by the river or something. Like, I mean, that's the fun part of it is actually getting to be with a person, not just texting
Yeah.
and video calling. So to me, I don't
Yeah.
understand why you wouldn't go.
Some guys, some I think yeah, I don't know. I think what blocks normally guys, it's fears, it's fears that I don't know. But
Sure.
actually, if you will not take any steps, you will lose this woman, because we have so many ladies like after half a year, after 1 year, they say, listen, I don't know if I will ever meet this man. And then in one lady who after 1 year in this communication, she break up, she say, I cannot, this is too
Sure.
much life goals. So
Yeah.
we introduced her with men who come to Ukraine, and now they married. So
Yeah.
so I say,
Absolutely.
if you don't come, you lose. If you like woman, just don't let your fears, doubts, questions, everything, keep your, just move forward. It's never
Yeah,
will happen. You will
you're
lose
pretty
if
much
you will.
guaranteed to fail. Yeah, you're pretty much guaranteed to fail if you don't ever go. So you might as well just go
Yeah,
ahead and go.
yeah, yeah.
Try and make it work.
Simon, ask this question. Did you feel many women staring at you with smile when you was in Ukraine? No, it's before war, of
Did
course.
you feel
It's
me?
when staring
I
at
don't
you.
quite get what the question is asking. Do you feel many women
Um,
staring at you with a smile?
like,
Basically, I
did,
mean, were they happy? Were they smiling while we were on dates?
um, I think it was not like lady that you meet through us. It's just like on the street when you was walking, like if
Mm,
lady was initiative to create contact. That I think what that is asked.
gotcha.
Wait.
I mean, for me, it was pretty much, I mean, most of the time I was out and doing something, I was already meeting somebody, so I
Mhm.
wasn't really trying to start street conversations. So
Mhm.
I wasn't really paying attention to that. But
Mhm.
everybody there was very polite, very nice people, great customer
Mhm.
service at restaurants. I mean, it was a fantastic place to go, and at least
Mhm.
at least from a traveling standpoint from the US, the dollar went very far. So it was very nice being able to go to restaurants and you end up leaving there with like a $10 tab, which here would be like 60 or $70. So, I mean, that part was definitely very fun going there because it felt
Mhm.
very inexpensive to go and do some traveling.
Mhm. So, I mean, I can answer this question because it's traditional culture. It's not really like you will not be even ladies. They motivated. If those singles, but it's not in our culture to show to express first. To men,
Sure.
your interest, again, because it's traditional. They expect man, if man likes you, she will like maybe will express mutual, but she wouldn't be that, she will not be that initiative. Like I see how it's
I
show
would
this
agree with that.
culture in the movies. This is very different. This is not the case in Ukraine. It's always like men hunters, men chase women, and she's like,
Like,
looking
and I
for.
would say that's true during the actual dating process. I mean, if you're going to kind of, hey, babe, whatever you want, you pick, they don't like that. They very much want the man to lead the relationship to, hey, no, we're going to go do this trip. This is where we're staying. I've already got the tickets. I've already got this planned. It's very much they generally, I can't speak for all ladies there, but they want you to lead the relationship. They want a man. They don't want some teenage boy who plays video games and doesn't have motivation, drive, and focus. That's not going to go well. You need to be able to get it going where you want it to go.
Single man value. Single man, on any guy knows his SMV when he travel overseas. Women are smiling at you everywhere you go. Okay, maybe it's part of your belief. Everybody smile to you. It depends maybe
Maybe.
on country when you travel. I know, Simon, you were very big fan of Asian. Maybe Asian women, they behave different. I know I'm Ukrainian, so I know how it's in our culture. That's why I'm happy to share
Mm-hmm.
about what like what I saw. And you can ask on Ukraine dating, our ladies, Ukrainian ladies who stream every day for you guys. Ukrainedating.tv. You're welcome to go and ask all, not only my opinion, but other ladies, how it's in our culture. So, yeah, I would like to ask you about how was your coach, Luba? Was she
She's
helpful?
great. Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, I kind of like not a hands-off approach, but I definitely like kind of like a backseat approach. So if I ever had any questions, yes, you guys were very easy to get a hold of, answered questions, helpful when I needed it. But if I was in the middle of my relationship, it's basically kind of, I don't know, once every 2 months or so, just a quick little, hey, how are things going? Is there anything that you guys have any concerns about that we can help? Anything kind of like that. And then assuming things are going well, great. We just would like to see a photo, tell us what's going on, and then they kind of again get back out of your way and let you go on your way. So I
Mm-hmm.
assume if you needed more help and you needed some advice, yeah, they're definitely there to help you with that. But again,
Mm-hmm.
for me, I mean, it's gone very well and pretty easy. I haven't needed much help. The couple times I did have some questions and I felt like something wasn't right, you guys were very quick to respond and give me advice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. Like we really don't try to put, a lot of like, how to say, um, like push our help where nobody asks you for help. If guy ask,
Agreed.
we of course we here to help you. But if guy say, I know everything, like he maybe know better than we even know, as being a man, But anyway, we always, yeah, if guy need support, and yeah, like different guys start this journey from different place and point. Some know very good Ukrainian culture, some know, no, so different guys need different level of support. So, and we believe
Sure.
it's very important.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I have like guys from who's been client of other agency, but somehow approach, found my telephone, WhatsApp, and asking me for whole coaching support. And now, if it happened, I send them to Ukraine dating, because we have this channel. So I
Hmm.
say, guys, go there, ask, like, and I see it's a big problem if, in other agency, they don't have it, and they need it, they want to understand, like something
Sure.
that like a breeze for me, something very easy, like you don't think that
Hmm.
this is can be valuable, but I see, having experience with our clients, it's something that they really need. They support, some less, some more, but anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's definitely some differences in culture, and sometimes it's nice being able to ask the coach, just like, "Hey, this is something
Hmm.
I had a question about," and they can kind of give a little bit more background for, again, how Ukrainians grew up versus how you grew up in the States. So, yeah, there's been a few times where I've had a question or two. I've reached out, gotten a quick answer, and it was very helpful.
Hmm. Hmm. So your investment in finding your health through Match Guarantee, was it worth it, and why?
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. Obviously, it's beyond what you pay for match guarantee. You also have to be aware that there are going to be additional travel costs. So as long as you're aware of that, it's absolutely worth it. But if you're making minimum wage and you save up that lump sum to do that first part, but you don't have enough saved up to do multiple trips to meet these ladies, you're probably going to fail. So I think as long as you kind of have the understanding of what it's going to take to be successful and you're willing to do that, yeah, it's absolutely worth it.
Thank you very much. And how would you rate our service on scale from 1 to 10? And would you be happy to recommend to your single friends?
Sure, yeah, I would say it's a 10 out of 10. Again, I thought you guys have been
Thank
very
you.
helpful. All the ladies I've met through you, I mean, I didn't feel like they were photoshopped photos. I mean, they looked exactly like how the photos portray. They all seem to be very high quality women. I mean, again, I only had one or two instances where I felt like it was maybe a little bit where they're trying to get me to buy stuff, and I just didn't go forward with that. But everybody else I met was fantastic and really, really amazing.
Simon, today have so many questions. Did you meet Joe? What's your
I did.
opinion on? Yes.
Yeah, Joe and I met, and I think we had two or three different sets of conversations. I think um, it was a year and a half ago now, so it's hard to remember everything, but we definitely had kind of just one sit down at breakfast or lunch. I forget exactly what time it was, where we talked
Mhm.
for probably 2 to 3 hours. And then I met him like 2 days after that at the very end of my trip, the last full day I was there. Kind of had a debrief video of how things had gone at that point, and we talked a little bit more then. And so, yeah, no, Joe was awesome, really personable, easy to relate to, and was giving helpful advice. So, yeah, Joe was cool. I like him,
Yeah,
and I'm
thank you.
grateful he set up this agency.
When I when we lived in Ukraine, in Kiev, we was happy to see clients, experience,
Hmm.
meet in the office, celebrate, every time when couple
Yeah.
come to us. And now it's a little bit everything in distance, but still, still it's very helpful for other guys, to learn from experience. But yeah, no, this physical connection, it was funny because so many times, because we also spent time in Krishatik, and it's mostly where all dates was going, so we just sitting, and all of a sudden, like, client come, Joe, I need advice how to kiss her. I was like, I was like, really?
That's funny.
Yeah, like, yeah, funny. Like, we all time was bumping into clients, in center.
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but it's interesting anyway. We can feel, this energy, happiness, just like talking to you
Hmm.
now. And this is very, warming for our hearts, for all our team. We all time celebrate when we ask these photos. We share. We like, oh, yoo-hoo! We have one more couple or one more baby come. Baby, look at the baby.
Yeah, I'll. She's very private, but I'm hoping once everything's like fully done, we're married and everything. Yeah, hopefully I can talk her into being okay with a few photos and
Uh-huh.
doing something to really kind of help get other people interested and willing to try it.
Yeah, there is guys was asking. Let's see some pictures of happy couples. Yeah, I guess we respect clients' wish. If if like, even
Oh,
everybody agreed at the beginning to share, but it's, I think, Ukrainian
oh,
people more private, ladies
oh, for
especially.
sure. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Generally
her
speaking.
Facebook has one photo on it, literally one photo. And
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't really care because I'm not a social media person myself, but I just literally 2 3 days ago, she had mentioned something about social media or Facebook, and I was like, okay, yeah, sure, let's actually look at each other's. And she looked at mine. She goes, oh wow, there's a ton of photos I've never seen before. And I said, yeah, yours sucked. You had one photo. What, like, I got nothing out of this. She goes, well, aren't you glad about that? I said, yeah, I am. I think social media is extremely detrimental to women in general. Just getting addicted to likes and posting. So I'm very glad she didn't really have anything. But it was also a little
Mm-hmm.
bit surprising because I've never met anybody ever who had one photo on Facebook. That's it, one. So no,
Yeah.
it was pretty funny. But she's very private about her life. She doesn't like having a lot out there. But I will say this, that I'll talk to her more and say, hey, the next time we do some kind of interview again, an update to this or whatever it will be, I'll try and talk her into, hey, at least let me pick like 2 or 3 photos and she can give the okay and kind of just show that. So the next time we do some kind of an interview or a chat or something or an update, I'll do my best to try and get some photos. And I'm sure she'll kind of get over it and be, okay, fine, we can do 2 or 3.
Yeah, yeah, that will be great. But anyway, even just you tell, like your story, guys can, get a feeling about the whole process and, your story, learn from it, learn from your experience, help them to
Sure.
overcome their guys. You see, guys writing, you need to have, you better have 50,000 to start the process. Do you agree with this?
I wouldn't. No, not at all. Obviously, I had the upfront payment to pay for it. I had that, but
Mhm.
then all of my consecutive trips were, I would say, in the like with stay, hotel, food, and all of that. I'd say each trip was in the ballpark of about 2,000. So no, I don't think you need to have 40 or 50. I do think you need to probably have like 15 to 20, or at
Mhm.
least be able to make that 15 to 20 disposable quickly.
Mhm.
So if it takes you a long time to save up, yeah, you probably should have closer to 20. If you're making 5 10,000 a month and you have more disposable income, then no, I don't think you have to have as much saved.
Yeah, but there is even like they say to start process. Yeah, starting this process.
Yeah, and that part I
It's
disagree
not
with.
expenses all in one time. This is not right. It's like in time. By the time you develop, you need to fly. So it's. I think it's again. This is like your blocks. That you're afraid that you won't be handling financially. But of course, it's not right to say that you will not have any expenses unless only matchmakers fee. Of course, you need to plan on coming to Ukraine, on flights,
Sure.
hotel, on all of that things. So it's important.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
would definitely say small things that, like after you've met in person, you've built a foundation. Yeah, she really enjoys getting flowers randomly. So there's
Hmm.
times I'll send some flowers on a random Tuesday, or if there's a special holiday or something like that, like doing small things like
What?
that. So
What is that? What did that sound? What
uh,
is it?
uh,
Oh, our wedding with Joe
nope.
was, I don't know, 1,500. What is it?
Yeah, no. Again, if you lead the relationship, I don't think you'll have a problem with that. Sure, you might meet somebody who goes, I want a $10,000 wedding dress. I want to have a $40,000 reception. Yeah, you could meet people like that, but you're going to meet far more of those people here in the States that are demanding of absurdity.
Make sounds.
Yeah,
Guys,
no,
it's just so funny. Yeah, in Ukraine, but
that is
also
funny though.
you can do also, okay, it's in Ukraine, but I mean we have guys who married in the US, but
Oh yeah,
actually they have with also with a budget, and their
yeah.
budget including our fee, traveling, and but yeah, one guy
There's
met
a
his
couple.
wife on second trip, and first guy he met his trip on first date and first trip. So both of their budget was including already marriage was 20,000. But I mean it depends how
Yeah,
you plan it. If you try if you want to do, I
sure,
don't know, 400 people to invite in America, of course it will be different budget. But um,
sure.
but I think if it's like young couple, of course it's a big thing, yeah. Shay, for a lady, I know. like I know that even psychologists told me there's so many requests of girl come to me who got married and didn't wear a white dress, you know. They want to be this one time, you know, this, you know, fairy tale happened. This is
Yeah.
only one time this experience happened to you, but it doesn't mean that you need to buy super expensive, you know, ring, or, you know,
No, not at
Ukrainian
all.
people, they're very frugal, you know, with money.
Hmm.
They know that
Oh, for
money
sure.
like kind of not falling down from the sky, so they're very practical. They will not, you know, I
Oh,
mean,
extremely in comparison to the U.S. Extremely practical and frugal compared to here.
yeah.
She
So
she
don't
wouldn't even let me. This is after a while of dating. She won't let me get her a new phone. She's like, no, my old phone's fine. It works. I'm like, your phone's old. Like her battery was dying on a trip like every 4 hours. She finally at least replaced the battery on it. But she's not something that's like, I need a $10,000 wedding dress. I need an $8,000 cake. I need a 200-person reception. So sure, again, you may find somebody who that's important to them, but I would say that that's not something that you should expect.
Yeah, you see, guys, this is again very different culture. And again, I mean, there is can be a lady who expect this, you know, if she grew up in a rich
Sure.
family, you know, who father was spoiling her, and she was like, I don't know, Barbie doll from her, you know, childhood, and she's looking for men who will
Hmm.
be, you know, the same level, you know, like rich, because you know, also that's what she experienced. But this is not average lady Ukrainian, okay? So, and it's important, you know, to find lady with whom you have like, you know, match on lifestyle as well, you know, on many different
Oh,
levels
sure.
of and values and everything. But every man wants to be appreciated by his woman by the level that he can provide for her, right? And
Hmm.
like we have I don't know, we have clients introduction when women, for example, owners of the factory, and I understand he's, you know,
Mm.
she's like, and he's just like, you know, he's mm, like work I don't know, like fixing something technical things,
Sure.
you know. It's like
Hmm.
it's not match. It's not because they, you know, like they have different expectations from, you know, and different
Sure.
level of, you know, experience in life and everything. So mm, and but yet this guy met you know, after this not successful call, okay, it's not because, you know, it's just because different people in different levels, and it should be matched here. That's my point, you know. And this guy
Sure.
was introduced to another lady, and they have such a great connection. There is such a good, you know, plans, and everything works, you know, amazingly good. So it's just about, yeah, meet your right person, you know, in many
Yeah.
different
I
levels,
mean,
you know. You agree?
again, same thing as like when I was growing up, I met some friends who came from very wealthy families, and their lifestyle was far different than mine. And yet, I've
Mm-hmm.
also had other friends where I was their rich friend in comparison. So, same thing. You're going to meet people who have certain expectations where, yeah, they may want a really fancy wedding. You have other people who are going to be very frugal, very tight on their budget, and not spend a lot of money on extravagant things. So, again, it's just like anywhere else in the world. You're going to meet people with different styles of lifestyles that they're used to, and either want to have, or it's not important to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I would like to ask you, what advice would you give guys who is thinking about trying to find Ukrainian wife? And your top three tips, what to do and not to do.
Hmm. Uh, Top three tips. Go ahead and decide to do it. I mean, if you're thinking about it and you're willing to do it, just do it. So that's tip number one. Get off your butt and go do it. Tip number two, be prepared to, like, again, make multiple trips, and try to have some saved time off from work, or have flexibility for that. Because again, my first set of ladies I met, I went there and didn't go back for a very long time to meet them. And that really, I think, was a problem. So I think being ready to meet someone, give it 6 weeks, 2 months, somewhere in there, and go back and see her again is very important. So that'd be tip number two. Tip number three, I mean, I think just be ready for your first match or your second match or your third match not to be the one. Again, it's just like dating anywhere else. This isn't a guarantee that you're going to find your wife on the very first trip or the very first lady you find interest in. It may be, it may not be. I talked to several people video dating and calling before I even went there. The first, I don't know, 4 or 5 didn't really pan out at all. Then I met one that I was pretty interested in, went there, met her. That went decently well. At the end, fizzled out. And then it wasn't until my second trip to meet somebody new, Maria, that I really feel like I found the one that I'm ready to move forward with, and she feels the same with me. So um, get off your butt, go do it. I forget what I said for the second one, and then be ready to have the first one or the first 3 or the first 10 not necessarily be the lady for you, but if you keep at it, you'll find somebody you're really interested in.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you. There is a question, but I said I didn't ask you what you do for a living,
Oh,
for
sure.
work. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I manage a store that does kitchen and bath remodeling. So tear out kitchens, put in new cabinets, maybe do some electrical plumbing work, put in new countertops. So we do remodel work, and I manage the store.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's important because guys want to understand, they can kind of can relate, if this journey, if they can be successful. I mean, some guys think like, I don't know, we have married truck drivers, they think, this is not affordable,
And I
or
used to do
they
that as
will
well.
not be interested. Yeah. And we have, it's about your personality, it's and about
Hmm.
meeting a right woman, who will, who will be appreciate you
Sure.
for who you are. It's not about work you do, but I mean, it just should be something. But actually, yeah, I mean, I mean, the thing is this Ukrainian lady, they're very well educated, and there is like,
Hmm.
they're not like, it's if it's not free. I mean, I was getting free, like government was paying for my education because I have
Sure.
very good marks, and there is many like students like this who for free get it. But if it's even you need to pay, it's very like affordable money, so
Hmm.
many Ukrainian ladies are very, very well educated, so they of course they appreciate like say, especially if they older, they they like, okay, if man not very handsome, but maybe he's very intelligent, I will look at he's
Right.
so I always try to find, what I will look at other side of him, so like we have
Yeah. But
expression.
Maria,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
she has more college education than I do. She feels like I'm a pretty smart guy. I have more like in real life experience, work experience, that kind of stuff, and I do research
Mhm.
differently. But no, she's far more probably technically skilled on like computers, programming, that kind of stuff than I am. So even if you're not highly educated, I mean, I think generally their main thing is they're looking if you can provide a foundation, a stable platform for a family to grow on. I don't really think they care too much what you do, as long as you're going to be loyal and provide and be a good quality man.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with you. It's always the case about, yeah, quality of who quality of personality. Yeah, because I mean,
Hmm. I agree.
we have like pot- potential clients that almost beat Joe in the office when he said I cannot help you. Doctors who said I want this, like very big
Right.
age gap and something completely unrealistic. And doesn't matter, you're very successful, but if you have very bad character, you rude to people, this money
Sure.
and that you reach, it will not help you, it will not help you to attract the good, nice
Sure.
lady, because we attract,
Hmm.
based on who we are, so
For sure.
this is like, I laugh every time when guys write, oh, you need just big wallet, or be rich.
No,
This is not,
not even
that's
not even accurate.
this is not work. It's not, you don't know Ukraine. If you think maybe in other countries, I don't know, but I know I'm Ukrainian, I can speak for Ukrainian ladies. I see, even like, you know like that, if man has status, but he cannot, like, always ladies will choose love first if they don't have attraction, if they cannot possibly see, themselves with men, like this is, it's not a case. I mean, if you interested in gold diggers, of course, but this is nothing
Sure.
about the relationship, about love, then it's different thing. So there is Simon Roll. This guy is young and the unicorn to a real Ukrainian dating. Actually, I can say that now we start to have more and more like young guys, and I'm very happy about this, because this is like, this is like, I don't know how to express. This is first time experience. This is first time family, young
Hmm.
people this flexible mindset, um, I know how, how it's big blessing, when two cultures, children, very, very developed, they speak several languages, they
Hmm.
very flexible, they very talented. I don't know, like I see so many
Sure.
blessings in this, in international marriages, and I'm happy that we have like young, client. And this is a Shea, not only unicorn. Just recently I was interviewing a client who was, when he started his journey, he was 28, and now he's 29, so like even younger.
You
So
started pretty similar to, yeah, you started similar to me.
yeah,
I was 29 when I started. So mhm.
yeah. So it's and he's very happy. One introduction, with his lady, and they were very good.
Fantastic.
I mean, they just like what I see about younger couples. They just proceed now so fast. They just want to. This is the first time you want to make sure this is right partner. So everybody goes like
Hmm.
not high speed, but just taking your time to know. Like he, yeah, taking time to know, but patiently, um, like not immediately get married, like it's the last chance or last train, taking your time. And this is, this is right thing to do, right?
And that's one thing I actually was very grateful for the Uniting for Ukraine option, was that I don't have to propose for her to come here and spend some
Yeah.
time. It's actually a fantastic option, at least right now, that she can be here up to 2 years before
Mm-hmm.
anything would have to get decided on that. No, I don't think I'll wait 2 years. I assume I'll make my decision much sooner than that, but it's nice not having such a short time
Rush.
limit on, hey,
Mm-hmm.
are you going to marry or not? You got 90 days. So I'm very grateful that this option currently exists, and it doesn't rush everything. So I'm very grateful for that.
Or thank you for your point. Yeah, it's true. I was like thinking about this before. Even when our guys was dating each other, it was still distance. But when she come, it's first time, it's shock. It's different culture,
Sure.
different everything. You have so many things just like hitting on you, and then you have this pressure to to get
Hmm.
married. So it's like you kind of in a big big stress, and it was
For
overwhelming
sure.
for Ukrainian women. I'm pretty sure, and since God, it didn't affect our marriages. For those guys, they it's
Hmm.
that's why I was telling, it's very important, when women come to you, when she just it's very important for men to be very attentive, caring, understanding, to
Hmm.
provide her this needed attention, and support for her, and help her to integrate to your culture, especially if lady doesn't speak English.
Yep.
This is like super
Oh,
difficult, but
especially. Hmm.
yeah.
Because it's a little bit of a culture shock just getting to go travel, and then if you're the only one that speaks English, or very few
Mhm.
speak English, and you can kind of understand it, but you're only there for a week or 2 weeks. Now imagine living in that full time when she would come here. So yeah, if she doesn't happen to speak English fluently, or even say very little, yeah, it would be quite a bit of a culture shock. But one thing, just with other people, who knows how long that program is going to be around. So if you are going to start this journey, I would say be aware that that program could potentially end at any time, and that you may end up having the options of either getting married and then her coming there, or being a fiance and then coming in that way. But be aware that this program that I got lucky that happens to be available for me, that could end, and it could end tomorrow. It could end 3 years from now. Who knows? That may not always be around,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. This is big,
because it wasn't
big.
there when I started.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. It's really great opportunity because don't have this pressure. You have your time, to make this decision, not in a hurry. Especially when you
Hmm.
know, you don't want to make a mistake. You want this to happen one time and will be for life. You don't want to be under pressure with this
Exactly.
lifetime changing decision. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Guys say, I think guys in their 20s or early 30s are not going to be are as successful. Unlike this guy, they have a different mindset. It depends on what mindset have guy. Yeah, if he is like hookup culture, mindset, that of course
Hmm.
it's not journey for him. No purpose to go so far away. I see when
Right.
there is some guys who is teaching how to strip pick up Ukrainian ladies and complain that you need to date them a lot time before and make her sure that you will be her husband before she will sleep with you. And then Ukrainian ladies who write in comments like, "Why you come here? What you do? Why you teach? Go in where it's normal. You don't need to play these games. Ukrainian women look for husbands, so like don't even
Hmm.
try to teach or play this game. So
I think it
definitely
all
it's
depends on your Yeah, I think it
yeah.
all depends on your mindset. If your mindset is you want to find a spouse, you're serious, I
Mhm,
think you'll be successful if you're willing to put in the work.
mhm,
If you think it's going to be easy, you think you're going to find it immediately on your first trip, that she'll move to you in 3 months. No, that's the wrong mindset. You don't have realistic expectations. So again, it's if you have the right type of mindset and the effort and the energy and the finances to do it, yeah, go for it. I'd
mhm.
highly recommend it. I'm glad I decided to take that leap of faith.
Yeah. What do you say about the man who is not as good looking like you? It's
I mean,
because
I personally feel like I'm a very average looking guy. So I don't know what you look like and whether you're tall or short, fat, skinny, bald or not. So, I mean, it's hard to say. I only have my experience to go off of. But just like here, I
Mhm.
mean, I got rejected by some ladies where I said, "Hey, I'd be interested in meeting you," and they said no. So I don't know if she would have a better opinion of the average guy gets 50% acceptance and 50% rejections. I was probably a little under that. And again, it may be because of my age where women go, he's only 29, he's only 30, he's probably not that serious. I don't know. But again, the
You have
people who
less
did,
less than 50%? You had
Mhm.
less?
Yeah, I would say it was about 40-ish% is what said yes, that they would like to
Wow.
continue having like a
Mhm.
conversation. So again, I feel like I'm an
Yeah.
average looking guy. So
Mhm.
yeah, I feel like I'm a 5 out of 10. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, you see, and this again, attitude. Some guys being discouraged. We have like I don't know, 65 years old man, and he got 3 years from 10, and he say, "Why only three?" And he's like discouraged and don't want to move
Sure.
forward. So I say,
And
this is
I
this is
and
good
I
and
personally would say
100% yes. You know.
and I would say I have high beauty standards. I mean, I definitely when I first started, I mean, I absolutely went for the absolutely most attractive women that were on there. And I think that also again played a little bit of role. I'm sure every single person who
Yeah.
joined the agency went for him. And so again, kind of just like here, if you're the most attractive woman, you're going to get every single option to pick from. And if they see me as a five, okay, great. But I still think Maria's absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. And again, she wasn't there when I first started this. So when I got going again, I really thought she was absolutely stunning. She said yes, she was interested in talking to me, and we hit it off. So I think you can find somebody who you will find very, very attractive and you'll have success with. But again, when I first started, no, my very first set of emails I sent out, again, they did it differently then than they do now. I think I was rejected by probably 60 to 70% in that very beginning stage. But again, I
Mhm.
went for the absolutely the most attractive ladies that were on there.
Yeah. I understand. This is a very good point. What I can add on my side, I see that the higher SMV, sexual market value of woman, the younger she is, the more choices she
Mm-hmm.
has, the more like she's kind of picky, about choosing partner.
Sure.
Like she has more demands. It's the same probably in your country, right?
As she
It's
should.
everywhere the
Yeah.
same. Yeah, like the more
Well, I
the
mean,
more older
why would you
people.
not pick the best candidate?
Yeah, like you have you have everything. You don't have children. You want to make this. Um I mean, it's I mean you kind of have this super maximalistic expectations, about like having the best, from what uh, and super demanding too, like, kind of ladies demanding to themselves, and they demanding to also, they to their partners,
Hmm.
so like I see with years, like our matchmaker said, I love to work with the older people, because everybody, normally both woman and man, they kind of more like, kind of more down to earth in their expectations, about also
Hmm.
like more flexible, more forgiving, more understanding, because kind of this, maturity add up or
Hmm.
something, or experience or something. And yeah, like, and when we have this, when we like very young, like in 20s, very young, like we want everything like perfect, perfect,
Oh,
perfect,
sure.
so this is
Hmm.
very normal, this is very normal. So I would not
And
say
again,
like, but it's very, that's what you say, it's very important. Like, if you're not super, like if you're not 10 and you choose tens, like, it's kind of not matching.
yeah,
If you're like, I don't know,
sure.
4 3, and you choose tens, of course there is will be not interest. But if you're like
But
5 and you choose fives, it can be
I
right.
I feel like I hit out of my league personally. I feel like Marie is 9 to 10. I think she's absolutely stunning. Like she's insanely gorgeous. Everybody I show photos to and friends or family here, they all think she's absolutely stunning. So I think you can definitely hit out of your league over there compared to here. That's just my personal opinion. But again,
Mhm.
I was picking single women, no children, never married. Again, the most beautiful on their site, and I still got accepted by quite a few of them. So
Mhm.
I don't think that you're I don't think you'd have a zero acceptance rate. Maybe somebody would potentially get there. I don't know, but I didn't, and I would say it's worth giving it a shot.
Mm-hmm. And I've done video. We will probably include it in description below to this video. How Ukrainian women rate SMV of the man, and it was very interesting for me because it's kind of very different from Western world. When I talk to Joe and like and because level of beauty or how man handsome, this is
Mm-hmm.
not anywhere even close to the top. Of what she's looking for.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Number one, the most important, and that's what Shea has, and that's why he's successful here now. He's reliable, and he's doing what he say. He's not like a win, come and call. So this is the most like thing that the most important. And then it's goals, values. Matching goals, values. Here. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why we have this like feedback from ladies. If man doesn't look good, he said, okay, but I'm willing to know him because maybe he's very intelligent and interesting person, because she's kind of, she's willing to get to know you. She's not like, this is, if for her, like, I don't know, your money and how you look, this is the most important, why, like we would have, I don't know what rejection and
Yeah, I
acceptance.
would say. Yeah, I would say. I mean, if your goal is to try and buy your way into a relationship, you're going to fail because if all she's
Yeah.
interested in you is your money. I didn't talk about money in my initial email to how I wrote them, but I told them about my family, what's important to me, my values, what I'm looking for, those types of things. So I think if you're honest about who you truly are as a person and what you want out of your partner, she'll see that. And again, I felt like I'm a five. I feel like I'm a very average looking guy. So I
Mm.
think they do value the actual like intangibles of a man versus the aesthetics. No, sure, obviously you're not going to date somebody you find unattractive, but I don't think they put like Western women do. It's very much, does he look extremely handsome? Like that's I feel like one of their most important features. And then after that, does he have a lot of money? Or it's one of those two where for them I feel like it's very much, is he reliable? Does he follow through with what he's going to do? Is family important to him? Would he be a good father? Those types of things I think are far
Yeah.
more valuable to them than Western women find that valuable.
Yeah, and this is very like very interesting, and for me was very open-minded because I never saw that how men look. It can be on the top, of what you because I don't know. It's like every Ukrainian woman. This is even I can tell you that I hear for feedback from Ukrainian woman who was dating Western man, and he said he's going to this gym, and he all time send me photos, and he's like asking how I look. She found this very strange. She said, what's going on? Why he's sending me all of this and asking me? Because this is the way how, to impress maybe Western women, but this is like super strange for Ukrainian woman. What's going on? Like she said, I want to know like him as a person. And I have this like
Right.
kind of, I don't know, modeling in front of me. What's the purpose? I'm like not interested. This is like, I don't feel any deepness, and that's the thing, like
Mm-hmm.
they're looking for deepness in the relationship or kind of
Sure.
partnership, these things, deep
Oh,
connection.
absolutely.
Yeah. So it's
And I would say from the
Mhm.
ladies I did meet there, I would say that it is important that you're somewhat fit because at least in like Kiev, you walked everywhere. I think most of my days I walked an average of like 8 to 10 miles a day. We'd walk to a park, we'd go do things like that. So if you aren't somewhat fit, yeah, you might have a hard time kind of keeping up with what they're used to, because it's not like the US where you drive everywhere. You get the front parking spot at a Starbucks, you walk inside 10 feet, or you sit in the drive through. Like, they're used to walking, they're used to being outside. I mean, like, for example, it was October when I was there, so it was in the 40s, 30 degrees sometimes, and we'd be out and sit at a park bench and talk and have a coffee or something or whatever. So again, their type of lifestyle is a little bit different than here. But again, that was something I was actually wanting and I was looking for. I don't want somebody who doesn't care about their own physical look. That seemed to be also something that they take value in, pride in. So they dress very nice, they dress conservatively, but yet they do value their appearance. So they're not going to go out with torn jeans or clothes that don't fit right or something like that. So um, again, I found that attractive, and they also look at that in a man. So if you're going to show up in blue jeans and a t-shirt, they're going to be a little bit probably put off by, like, wow, you don't really care about your appearance. Or if you got stains on your shirt or on your pants or something, they're going to have an opinion like, okay, this guy doesn't really even care about himself. Why should I?
Yeah, it's true. They like read into everything, into all the small details. So like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Western guys find this funny, or like it's not logical, but this is very logical for Ukrainian woman to make big conclusions
Mm-hmm.
from small things. So you need to be really, yeah, careful. I mean, when I met
Yeah, I
Joe,
mean, being clean shaved, or at least have your
uh-huh.
your appearance looking relatively neat and trim. I mean, pretty much all the dates I went on, I usually wore like slacks and a button down shirt with a tie. And maybe sometimes I didn't wear a tie, but I had like a pullover or something, or some kind of a vest or something. So again, setting good impressions on your first date or meeting these people is important. So yeah, showing up in a shirt that doesn't fit, that's not ironed, that's wrinkly, that's got a stain or a tear in it, yeah, they're gonna read it a lot into that. So again, they value appearance.
Yeah, it's crazy. We have like, I mean, when I met Joe, he was like, he was shopping for guy because he was not appropriate looking for dates. So he was like, you need to change clothes. So, and but now I see, we don't have this assistant anymore. I mean, we're not in Ukraine, so guys on their own. But we hear sometimes
Hmm.
feedback, he come with not cutted nails, it's like, not washed
Hmm.
hair. And I was like, seriously, I need to tell you about this, like, I mean, these guys, I mean, when I do video, the guys laugh, from me, like, why I teach such a stupid, simple things. But if I talk
Hmm.
about this, it means it happened, guys,
There's
and
a
you,
reason. Hmm.
yeah, you need to, it's good that if like, I mean, I just want to make point from this. I mean, this is really, this is first impression that we cannot ruin, later when it happened, when
Hmm.
she already know you have already this, chemistry, everything, set up. I mean, it can happen that, but some, like, you cannot look not perfect, but at the beginning, yes, put effort into it,
Hmm.
you have so much effort already, put into
Right.
it. Don't let this, small details ruin this, first impression. So
Hmm.
yeah, and please, guys, don't also lie about your height, because when you first time meet, all of a sudden, if you make mistake or purposely, intentionally make mistake, this is kind of can be a very wrong impression.
Sure.
You all
But
of a sudden meet
at least
and
from what
she's
I've
taller than you. All of a sudden, yeah, huh?
And at least
Yeah.
from what I've heard, because over here, like, women have a 6 foot rule. Like, over there, it's done in centimeters, so there isn't like this hard, fast number that guys have to be they're a certain height. So at least from what I've heard, it doesn't. They're not as particular about height. But again, just be honest. Tell them what you are, and if you're accepted and they want to meet you, great. You've already started off on the right foot because you were honest, and they already see that right away. But if you say you're tall and you're not, you're skinny and you're not, and like you give all these false impressions, well, when they finally meet you, they're going to be very put off because clearly you're not telling the truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. It's very important to be, honest and tell everything how it is, to give her a chance at the beginning to say, I mean, she, if, I mean, actually, the height, when lady just see introduction, and if she missing height, she always will ask, what his height,
Oh,
because
sure.
yeah, no, normally they just don't want to be again, this is kind of subconsciously safety and security, which is her first, need. If man
Sure.
like shorter, like she doesn't feel safe with him, like kind of just like here, not physically.
Right.
So yeah, it's a part of why they're looking for a man at least equal, better taller, but
Hmm.
not shorter, because it just give them this, I mean, we have in Ukraine couples. Don't get me wrong. I see on the street, who when woman
Sure.
taller, but it's just not major. Major. Yeah, majority would prefer like always, because again, this first
Sure.
need insecurity to see
But
when
I
men.
think you're going to deal with that no matter. I think you're going to find that no matter where you look, whether it's in the West and the East and Europe and Asia,
Yeah.
everybody's going to have their own height preferences. I mean, I I personally wouldn't want to date a woman taller than me, but I mean that's also my preference. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you have certain things you like and you don't like. Just be honest about it,
Yeah.
because you might as well start off on the right foot instead of saying, "Hey, I'm 6'6," and then you show up and you're 5'9," and you go, "Well, clearly that's a bit different."
I'm just talking about this because we had this experience, when lady was introduced half a year in relationship, and then he come and he's shorter, and this is like kind of
Wow.
like oops, like a lot of time, So guys, please don't do this. This is important, Don't be honest, This is just ruined,
Mhm.
your relationship when it's just started, and yeah, it's better to be honest about all these things. So guys, okay, there is something addressed to you. Do you see yourself happy with her and think you will love each other till death?
I mean, yes, I do. We both generally feel very passionate towards each other. I mean, we've told each other that we love each other, and obviously, she's willing to move halfway across the world to come be with me, and leave friends and family behind. So I don't think she'd be willing to do that if she didn't have that feeling. Now, who knows? Maybe we live together for a few months and we go, you know what? We aren't the right match. That could happen. So we'll see. But at least as of right now, it sure feels that way. And I've never had this powerful of an emotion of love towards anyone else, and it's been absolutely worth it.
I'm so happy,
Yeah,
jumping.
I'm very excited.
Be all excited, very for you, and. Yeah, to finalize it, just yeah, this is very good question. We all will, I don't know how to say, pray for everything will develop in how it's supposed to be, in the past. God always,
Yeah.
bring us, even when we think this is not what we want or not right. Everything happened in the right time when we're ready in the best for us. So yeah, we will
I'm hoping. I'm praying.
hope, yeah, hope everything will soon will happen soon. She will move. I just start to worry very much because it's just very excited, and I just
It
start
is.
to lose my words. Yeah. So yeah, I wish you guys to have this, wisdom and flexible, and I wish you,
Hmm.
Shay, to be the strong, mountain that Maria would experience when she come. It's different culture. She will need,
Hmm.
mm, your, you know, your strengths, to be that,
Sure.
yeah, that man who,
Yeah, and I'm excited to be that man for her.
yeah, is a part of our traditional culture where women feel like, okay, I just need a strong shoulder. That's what they look
Hmm.
in all their life. And in order to be a woman, because they're happy in this role, to be a woman, they don't fight. They don't compete with a man, who is stronger. This is not in
Hmm.
our culture. Again, this is like, this is very different experience probably for many guys who
Hmm.
never have it, just come and get it your own experience. And
Hmm.
yeah, uh, we all guys, mm, uh, all hope and all wish
Me
you
too.
success. Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Very
you.
lovely auditorium. They all live this experience today with you, and we'll keep we say keep this, I don't know how to say in Ukraine for success. I don't know how in English. It's like some of what we believe,
Gotcha.
yeah. So I I uh, okay, there is guys can keep writing. Yeah, one more time, thank you very much, Shay,
Sure.
for even like Maria was not was not very excited about your interview, that you, despite on this, you come, and it's
Hmm.
really, guys, uh, tell us, it's helpful for you, right? To learn from, not from me, because this is my story, but when you hear this from guys, you have possibility to ask, to find answers on your concerns, and yeah, to get needed or encouragement or something. Oh my goodness, they bring me my loving husband. Thank you. Okay, so thank you very much. We will be keeping updated.
Sure.
I hope we will have one more happy story. I mean,
Yeah.
this is already happy, but anyway, as I always say
Yeah.
to guys,
Absolutely.
if you think that your destiny is just marriage, it's when everything just begins. So it just
Hmm.
literally, unfolding a life long, journey. So attitude always to this, the journey, and learn from, share experience, never give up, and yeah, and be man of your word and man of action,
Hmm.
and then you will be
Yep.
successful like Shay. Okay.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I mean they're not paying me to say this. I spent money to do this program. I've found success. I mean, if you're debating about it, thinking about it, I'd say it's worth giving it a shot if you have the ability to do it. It might not work out for you, but I think if you're willing to stick with it and give it all your effort, I think you'll be successful because I have been, and again, they're willing to stand behind you as long as you're willing to put in the effort. It's not like, hey, you get 2 trips, and if you don't find 2 trips, you're done. It's no, they guarantee as long as you're putting in the effort, they'll be there to help you get to the finish
Mhm,
line. So
mhm,
they've absolutely done everything they said they would do, and I would highly recommend it to anybody who would ever say, hey, honestly, is that something you'd do? Yeah, I'd do it again, and I'd
mhm,
recommend it for anybody else who's debating it.
mhm. Thank you very much for your kind words, Shay. Yeah,
Hmm.
we'll be in touch, and again, your journey continue. And yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully we'll be more happy news to share.
Yeah,
Hopefully in future,
hopefully the next time
debate,
we talk, yeah, hopefully the
debate
next time we talk,
in
I don't
future.
know about
Yeah,
baby, but
step by
hopefully there's an engagement ring involved.
step. Yeah. You can do it, guys. Very supportive here. Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. Okay, bye bye. Have a nice evening, wherever, guys. Weekend, tomorrow, Sunday,
Hmm.
and see you next Saturday. Okay, 11 Eastern. Okay, bye bye.
Have a good one.
Bye. Uh-huh. Bye bye.